Capcom's annual Captivate Showcase is renowned for the great combination of exciting new game announcements and exotic locations, and this year's is absolutely no exception. I'm fortunate enough to have been invited here to the sun-soaked Miami Beach in Florida to see an incredible array of new titles, two of which have been revealed here for the very first time. To kick things off, a zombie double bill in the form of the recently announced Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City and curious alternative reality undead slaughterfest, Dead Rising 2 off the record.
This is not a numbered edition in the Resident Evil series. This is a completely different kind of game, and that's given us a lot of ability to do some really interesting new things with the game. For instance, you're not playing as a good guy hero type, you're playing as the bad guy as part of the Umbrella Security Services. Also, the main threat in this game is not the zombies and BOWs. They are more part of the atmosphere, part of the background that you can use to your advantage or get tripped up by if you don't use them well.
What the hell is going on here?
Originally, there was a director's cut planned for Dead Rising 2, and once the game was first announced, Dead Rising 2, the overwhelming response that we got from the fans and from the press around why Frank wasn't in the game, it basically created an opportunity for us where we decided, what if rather than do a traditional director's cut, what if we actually re-envision the Fortune City outbreak and bring Frank back to it? Frank obviously has been around the block with zombies before. People know about his history with the Willamette outbreak, and even though he's let himself go a little bit, he's a little bit heavier around the middle and so on, and he's got to rebuild those skills again, we felt it was important right out of the gate to make him more capable. And what we're saying is that this is a tougher Frank West in a deadlier Fortune City.
But it wasn't all established franchises. Capcom had a pair of all-new games to show off too. One of them, Dragon's Dogma, is a very ambitious open-world fantasy epic from the minds behind Devil May Cry 4. But first, you really need to check out the god-punching insanity that is Asura's Wrath.
Asura's Wrath takes some of the more salient elements of Asian mythology and melds them with a sci-fi setting. But even if you're not familiar with Asian mythology, that's okay because it just influences the game, and we've created an original story for it. The basic story behind Asura's Wrath is Asura and the boss he fought today. They're both demigods that look out and protect this world, but Asura is betrayed by them, and his daughter is taken away from him, and he's banished to Earth. So he's coming back to get revenge on them and get his daughter back. Dragon's Dogma is basically your high fantasy type based world, but it's an action game set in the fantasy world. So to that end, we've made sure that there's all these adventures and these quests that you can go on, but making sure it's full of things to do and that fun action you've come to expect from us. The story itself, and I guess the rationale for the title is, in the beginning of the game, a dragon appears, and there hasn't been one seen in these parts for decades. And all of a sudden this dragon appears, starts causing havoc, and he finds the main character. And he takes the main character, says, "I've chosen you." And he takes your heart. He takes your heart away. But he can still talk to you. You hear his thoughts in your mind. So the dragon is speaking to you. He's guiding you on this quest. But why he's guiding you on this quest, what his rationale for doing this is, you don't know. You have to find that out along the way.
Ladies and gentlemen, the ultimate Street Fighter!
Another popular Capcom sequel that's soon set to enjoy a new lease of life is Super Street Fighter 4. Street Fighter producer and the most enthusiastic man in gaming, Yoshinori Ono, revealed the long-rumoured Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition, which will be available as both a game add-on for Super Street Fighter 4 owners and a full retail release. Arcade Edition adds 4 new characters to the roster, namely twin brothers Yun and Yang, first seen in Street Fighter 3, and evil Ryu and Oni, pumped-up versions of Ryu and Akuma with incredible new Ultra combos. In addition, all existing characters have been rebalanced based on feedback from professional players. Meanwhile, the online component has been bolstered with an enhanced replay channel, which now lets you share replays with other players, follow your favourite players, and view battles between elite fighters. Arcade Edition is cross-compatible with Super Street Fighter 4, so you can still play against those who've decided not to upgrade, although they'll have to install a game update in order to do so. The add-on is currently planned to hit the game marketplace on 7th of June, with the retail release following on 24th of the same month. Ono-san was also on hand to show off the first playable build of the so incredible I still can't believe it's actually happening Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and reveal more details about the featured characters and the fundamentals of its combat system.
So first of all, just to explain, what we're trying to make here is not, it's neither a Tekken game nor a Street Fighter game. We're trying to prepare a whole separate stage for these combatants to fight upon. So basically, the idea of allowing people to input traditional 4-button combos with their Tekken characters in Street Fighter Cross Tekken, we view that as a way to kind of lower the barrier of entry, open the gateway a bit for players who are more traditionally used to Tekken. So the hope here is that people who might remember how to do some combos in Tekken using the 4 buttons, they can jump in, they can try that, they can get used to it. Then hopefully they'll notice the other 2 buttons and they'll start experimenting with those and see what those do.
So that's Captivate over for another year, but you can look forward to the full interviews on Inside Xbox in the coming weeks. Now, if you don't mind, I've got some very important business to attend to.